PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello, Golden Knights fans. My name is Ian Rakelli, and this is another episode of Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. And if you're on our website, PRConnectionsRadio.com, check out all the shows we have on the network, including Vegas Hockey Hub. We have about a dozen shows here on PR Connections Radio. So if you're on the website, go into the tab and check out all the shows we have on there. If you are on the PR Connections YouTube channel, welcome in. Don't forget to subscribe and watch all of the content we have on here, as PR Connections Radio uploads content daily to the YouTube channel. So I highly advise checking out the PR Connections Radio YouTube channel and hitting the subscribe button. And if you are on the Vegas Hockey Hub YouTube channel, I will say welcome in, everyone. If you want to like this video and share it to all of your friends around the world, I would appreciate it. And also, if you are on our social media pages at Vegas Hockey Hub, we upload all of our shows and all of our links to our social media pages. So if you could turn on notification bell so you not miss any content we have here on Vegas Hockey Hub, that would be fantastic. And lastly, if you want to follow your host, Ian Rakelli, there is my underscore right down there at Ian Rakelli 18. I am on all social media platforms. So if you want to follow me, that would be much appreciated. On tonight's episode of Vegas Hockey Hub, we are going to be talking about who will make the opening day roster for your Vegas Golden Knights. And it's been a lot of fun talking about the Vegas Golden Knights the past couple of weeks. We've been doing player profiles. We've been doing previews. We did a prospect watch very recently. I'll leave a card right up here. And it's going to be a lot of fun talking about them for the rest of the season. But until then, we are going to be discussing the 23-man roster for your Vegas Golden Knights. And before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, let me just divert and let me just pivot real quick to wish a happy Thanksgiving, Canada, to all of our Canadians who watch this show. Happy Thanksgiving. Of course, you are our neighbors up north, so I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to everyone in Canada. Happy Thanksgiving. And for anybody who is curious about the upcoming shows we have here on the channel, we have a player profile for Pavel Dorofeev that is in the works. So we are going to be uploading that show soon to Vegas Hockey Hub. And on the 1-year anniversary of Vegas Hockey Hub, we are going to be doing our 2023-2024 NHL preview. We are going to be giving our predictions for the upcoming NHL season, and that will be uploaded tomorrow before the banner ceremony for the Vegas Golden Knights. So around 6 p.m., an hour before puck drop, we are going to be uploading our season preview for the 2023-2024 NHL season. We put a lot of work and effort into that video, so if you want to watch that as well, I highly recommend it. So to give you some context on who's going to make the opening day roster for your Vegas Golden Knights, we have to look back for just a little bit. The preseason, you had about 8 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I will say, when it comes to Vegas, when it comes to the preseason, there's a lot we can talk about. But can I do a small rant for just a little bit? Can I just rant about this? All right, NHL, this is going to be towards you. We do not need 7 preseason games. We do not need 8 preseason games. I understand that it's a lot about making money. I get it. NHL is a business. I understand. But how many preseason games do we realistically need in the NHL? Similar to how the NFL had to cut 1 week out of the NFL preseason schedule, how about we cut back on the preseason games, honestly? Because it felt like we just had about way too long of the preseason here in the NHL. Like a lot of hockey fans, we're getting ready to get into the NHL regular season, but we had to do almost an entire month of just preseason Very unnecessary. I've never understood why we do 7 to 8 preseason games every single year. If we could have like 4 or 5 preseason games, that would probably be a good blend. But 7 or 8, really unnecessary. It kind of just defeats the whole purpose. Kind of feels like you're just prolonging the process of guys getting sent down to the minors, guys being cut, being waived. So I just want to do a small little rant real quick before I get back to what I was about to talk about. But yeah, can we not have this many preseason games next year, please? That's just one little thing I wanted to say. Now, getting into the preseason for your Vegas Golden Knights, it's very interesting how the Vegas Golden Knights performed in the preseason. Because the Vegas Golden Knights, it wasn't like they were terrible in every single game. Now, granted, there was 1 or 2 games that they didn't do amazing in. But overall, when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights and when it came to our preseason schedule and really what they did in the preseason, Brendan Brisson having 2 goals for the Vegas Golden Knights, Lucas Cormier having 2 assists, the fact that you had 2 of your promising guys having 2 points each in the Vegas Golden Knights system, that was a kind of a standout. Jack Eichel, he led the entire Vegas Golden Knights in preseason when it came to points. So Jack Eichel doing what he is probably going to do in the regular season, and that's put the puck in the back of the net. But when it came to the preseason for your Vegas Golden Knights, they started out by losing to San Jose 5-2. Really unfortunate. There was a lot of sloppy play there. Not many positives you can talk about. Then they go to Colorado the next night on Monday, and they lose 3-2. Sloppy play kind of went away. There was a little bit more physicality. There was some good back and forth between Colorado and Vegas. I will say the defensive play looked a little bit better. So I will say Colorado, that was a good game. Now, the LA Kings was unfortunate because the Vegas Golden Knights were leading. The LA Kings were doing pretty not great in the first half of the game. And then they took over in the second half, had somebody score a hat trick and Akil Thomas, and the Vegas Golden Knights lost in overtime. So it was definitely unfortunate what happened there. They beat Arizona 3-1. There really wasn't much you could say about that game. Kind of underwhelming, but still picked up the win. And then you ended up having a 2-0 loss against San Jose on a Tuesday night. This felt really sluggish. The Golden Knights really didn't have a lot of momentum in that game. It was kind of lackluster. They go against Colorado. They were down 3-0 heading into the last period. And then they pick up 3 unanswered goals and then get a final one from Pavel Dorofeev. And they have Paul Cotter, these young guys scoring goals in the last preseason game at home. It was definitely a fun highlight for the Vegas Golden Knights. And then they win their final preseason game 7-4 against the LA Kings. That was a good note. Jack Eichel, he did his thing out there against LA and had a good game on the final preseason game. Now, here's what I'm going to mention very quickly. We know about the injuries that have affected the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, Daniil Myromanov, he is on the long-term IR to start the season. He's not going to be playing in Henderson. He's not going to be playing in Vegas. But wasn't really going to impact Vegas that much. Myromanov was either going to be a healthy scratch in Vegas or he was going to be a top-line defenseman in Henderson. But the 2 injuries that definitely affected Vegas was Zach Whitecloud and Alec Martinez, especially Alec Martinez, who is a top-pairing defenseman here in Vegas. I mean, the fact that Alec Martinez, him suffering an upper body injury, it looks like he will be out for a while. If anybody saw the video of him at the Raiders game, he was in a sling. So it's interesting to see what Alec Martinez can do long-term. And with Zach Whitecloud, he underwent surgery. He is going to be out for a while for your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, what this does offer an opportunity to when it comes to your Vegas Golden Knights is you have 4 young defensemen who are willing to step in and take in a role with the Vegas Golden Knights. Nick Hague has been a third-line defensive pairing for majority of his time in Vegas. Do not be shocked if Nick Hague kind of embraces this opportunity, him no longer being on the third line, being able to get an opportunity to be on the first or second line here in Vegas. So for Nick Hague, he'll take advantage of it. Brayden Pachal, the captain of the Henderson Silver Knights, he'll probably get some playing time here in Vegas. Caden Korczak, the young 22-year-old, he's a top prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I will mention that you also have Lucas Cormier, the top and best prospect the Vegas Golden Knights have. I would not be shocked if he gets some playing time if he develops well in Henderson. But one player that I was very surprised by, and one player I was genuinely shocked by his performance, someone who I'm going to be doing a player profile on here on Vegas Hockey Hub, and that is Pavel Dorofeev. Pavel Dorofeev had a lot of confidence in the preseason. You could tell that he is getting better. He is improving in almost every game he was in the preseason. You watched him in training camp, during the practice sessions at City National. He had more confidence to him. And for a guy like Pavel Dorofeev, who is still a rookie, someone who is the number 5 prospect when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, I like what Pavel Dorofeev is capable of. I like what he can become. And I will say, based off the goal he had against Colorado, which was very impressive, might I add, Pavel Dorofeev has a bright future ahead of him here in Vegas. But if there was one player that I was very impressed with in the preseason, it would definitely be Pavel Dorofeev. So who got put on waivers for the Vegas Golden Knights? Who are some players that were sent to the waiver wire when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights? Because there was a good amount of players that the Vegas Golden Knights had to send to the waiver wire when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights. The first player that they had to send down to the waivers, the first one was on October 1st, and that actually ended up being Dyson Mayo. So Dyson Mayo, he's a young defenseman. They got him in the Shea Weber deal. He was sent down to waivers. He cleared. Jonas Roundbeer, he's someone who has kind of stagnated a little bit. He's kind of a bottom 6 forward in Vegas, a little bit of a top 6 forward in Henderson. Unfortunately, it just feels like he just doesn't really have a place right now. They put him on waivers. He cleared. Sheldon Rampel, who is a veteran in the AHL, guy they signed not this offseason, but the offseason before. He cleared waivers as well. And the Vegas-born Gage Quinney, he cleared waivers as well, as they had to place him down into the AHL. You also had Mason Gerston, who they signed to be an AHL kind of enforcer, someone who's a bruiser, kind of a physical type of guy. He was sent down to Henderson. He cleared waivers. Byron Fries, who's going to be a top 6 forward in Henderson. He has had a few games, a cup of coffee in the NHL last year for Vegas. He was placed on waivers and he cleared. And then the last one was claimed on waivers by the Vegas Golden Knights. And then the next day was cleared after being put on waivers. And that was Gregory Diansenko. And he was claimed on waivers by the Vegas Golden Knights from Florida. And he is someone who came from the KHL. This is somebody in Diansenko who does have some potential, 23 years old, former 15th overall pick back in 2018. And what I like about him is that he could be a top 6 forward in Henderson, and then he could be a bottom 6 forward in Vegas if they have to have him there. So the players that were sent to the waiver wire when it came to your Vegas Golden Knights, it was Diansenko, Roundbeer, Rampel, Quinney, Mayo, Gerston, and Fries. So 7 players for your Vegas Golden Knights were put on waivers, and they are now in Henderson. And that kind of left the roster with about 25 players for 23 spots. There were 2 players that unfortunately were going to be in limbo when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights. And one of them is the guy they had as a PTO, and that is Maxime Comtois. I will say, when it comes to Maxime Comtois, he is someone I look at, and he had potential. He was a 2nd-round pick in Anaheim. He scored a couple of goals against Vegas when he was an Anaheim Duck. only 24 years old. I understood why Vegas took him in. The problem that Maxime Comtois had is that he just wasn't impressive in preseason. They gave him a couple of opportunities when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights, and just unfortunately, it was just a situation where he didn't really fit what Vegas was trying to do. It really seemed like he just didn't mesh well with the Vegas Golden Knights. So when it comes to Maxime Comtois, do I see them signing him coming off of PTO? The unfortunate answer is going to be no. I don't see him being signed by the Vegas Golden Knights. I think they will probably unsign him, or best case scenario for him, the Vegas Golden Knights will sign him to a two-way deal, having him be in Henderson to start the year. Once again, only 24 years old. He still is developing as a NHLer, but I just don't believe he is a Vegas Golden Knight type of player. So I will say for the Vegas Golden Knights, hopefully this ends up not being the case. Hopefully he would get signed. But in my professional opinion, in my personal experience, I think Maxime Comtois will not be signed by the Vegas Golden Knights, and he will be unsigned coming off his professional tryout. So it is time to get into who will make the opening day roster for your Vegas Golden Knights. And the way we are going to do this here on Vegas Hockey Hub is going by line, by line, by line, by line. We are going to do the forward lines, then we'll do defensive pairings, goaltender tandem, and lastly, who the scratches will be for your Vegas Golden Knights. The first line will be Ivan Barbashev, somebody who everyone knew was going to be a first-line left wing the moment he got signed. Jack Eichel, the guy who's the face of the franchise here in Vegas, the sniper at center. He is someone who has definitely evolved and has become a really good center in the NHL. He's a superstar. Of course, he's going to be a first-line center here in Vegas. And then you have your Conn Smythe playoff MVP in Jonathan Marchessault. Jonathan Marchessault, a guy who's a fan favorite here in Vegas, a misfit, someone who is beloved by the fans. He'll be on line one. Keep in mind, the Vegas Golden Knights are keeping their first line from the playoffs last year. Very smart by Bruce Cassidy, with Barbashev, Eichel, and Marchessault all being back together. Forward line two, I'm going to be keeping it the same from the playoffs last year. Brett Howden, I don't know how long he'll be a second line forward, but for now, I have him being the second line left wing. There's obviously a chance that he could become a third line. If somebody outperforms on the bottom six, they might replace him. But for now, based off his chemistry with Chandler Stevenson, his chemistry with Mark Stone, Brett Howden will be a second line winger. Chandler Stevenson, the all-star from last year for the Vegas Golden Knights, a guy who has done progressively well as a Golden Knight since being brought over from Washington. And Mark Stone, who is the captain of the Vegas Golden Knights. There is no chance their captain was going to be a bottom six forward. He will be on the second line. On the third line is interesting, and I'm going to have to explain this to everybody. I'm really going to have to explain why I pick who I'm picking for this line. So Paul Cotter, to me it seems very obvious, but I'm going to have to explain this. Paul Cotter, he is the youngest out of this trio. He is a young, up-and-coming guy, someone who outperformed last year, having a bunch of goals late in the year, and someone who took advantage of playing half the year in Vegas. He is someone who has the most potential out of the players on the bottom six. And if I'm the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm starting him on the forward line three. And if he does well and outperforms, put him on the second line along with Stevenson and Stone. William Karlsson, Wild Bill, the guy who did a speech of the lifetime, a speech that will last forever. He will be as your third line center. Now, he was dealing with something personal during the preseason, so we did not see much of William Karlsson. But once that stuff has been checked out and he will be playing in Vegas, I fully expect William Karlsson to be a center on the opening day roster here in Vegas. And now, this was tough because you had Pavel Dorofeev and you have a veteran in Michael Amadio. understanding Bruce Cassidy, the way he has coached the last 2 years, I'm going to say he will have a veteran here to begin the year. He will have Michael Amadio begin the year as the third line right wing. There's no doubt Pavel Dorofeev will eventually play some games. They might even swap out Amadio for Dorofeev every once in a while. But to begin the year, to have their opening day roster, to have their banner ceremony at T-Mobile Arena, I fully expect Michael Amadio, of him being a veteran, someone who's been in Vegas for a couple of years now, to be on the third line as your right wing as a forward. And then your fourth line here in Vegas, it will not change. It has been the same forever. You have William Carrier, the guy who scored 16 goals last year for the Vegas Golden Knights, had a career year with the Golden Knights last year. Someone who has been a misfit since day one. William Carrier will be your left wing. Nick Waugh, who we did a player profile on, who I will leave a link right over here. He will be your center. And then Keegan Kolesar, a guy who has mixed opinions here in Vegas. Some people like him. Some people don't like him. Some people think that he's good defensively. Some people don't know why he's on the roster. So Keegan Kolesar will be your right wing, Nick Waugh at center, and William Carrier at left wing. So let me repeat the forward line one more time. Forward line 1, Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Jonathan Marchessault. Forward line 2, Brett Howden, Chandler Stevenson, and Mark Stone. Forward line 3, Paul Cotter, William Karlsson, and Michael Amadio. And forward line 4, William Carrier, Nick Waugh, and Keegan Kolesar. Now, defensive pairings is going to be subjective because Alec Martinez is hurt and Zach Whitecloud is hurt. So I acknowledge that this is not going to be the same list. It's not going to be the same prediction as other people are going to have. But this is on Vegas Hockey Hub, my subjective opinion on who's going to be defensive pairing 1, defensive pairing 2, and defensive pairing 3 for your Vegas Golden Knights. Your defensive pairing number 1, you, of course, are going to have one of the best defensemen in all of hockey, arguably the best defenseman Vegas has in Alex Pietrangelo. But beside him, I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm not promoting Brayden McNabb to take Alec Martinez's place. I'm not promoting Shea Theodore up to replace Alec Martinez's place. Instead, I'm going to give an opportunity to someone who has been working and working and working to get an opportunity. And of course, I'm talking about someone we did a player profile on recently, and that is Nick Hague. Nick Hague in the preseason, he had more confidence to him. He showed that he was kind of becoming more of his own defenseman, becoming his own guy here in Vegas when it came to Nick Hague. He had more confidence under him. And I say when it comes to Bruce Cassidy, having a guy like Nick Hague, who is 6'6", going alongside Pietrangelo, I believe it would be perfect for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, defensive pairing number 1, Alex Pietrangelo and Nick Hague for your Vegas Golden Knights. Defensive pairing number 2, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Brayden McNabb and Shea Theodore, they have been together since year 3 with the Vegas Golden Knights. And this will be the 4th year they will be on the same line. And I say the reason why they will keep it that way is because it works. Brayden McNabb is a shot blocking specialist, and Shea Theodore is one of the best offensive-minded defensemen in all of hockey. So defensive pairing 2, I'm keeping it the same, and I'm going with Brayden McNabb and Shea Theodore. Now, the last pairing the Vegas Golden Knights have, there's opportunities here. There is definitely no doubt I can make it a young line, have it be Caden Korczak, Lucas Cormier. I could maybe have the top line in the AHL be the third pairing, Brayden Pachal, Caden Korczak. I could maybe have Ben Hutton and Lucas Cormier. I could possibly have Brayden Pachal and Lucas Cormier. There's a lot of players you could put on the defensive pairing 3. But a lot of people in Vegas forget about Ben Hutton. Ben Hutton is a veteran defenseman. He is someone who has played well over 400 games in the NHL. He is someone who has proved himself time and time again as an NHL defenseman. So, my final pairing and the third defensive pairing for your Vegas Golden Knights on the opening night roster, I am predicting that Brayden Pachal, the captain of the Henderson Silver Knights, will make his opening day debut being on the opening roster for your Vegas Golden Knights, and he will be alongside a veteran defenseman in Ben Hutton. So here is our defensive pairings here in Vegas. Alex Pietrangelo and Nick Hague on line 1. Brayden McNabb and Theodore on pairing 2. And Ben Hutton and Brayden Pachal on pairing 3. Of course, your goalie tandem will be Adin Hill and Logan Thompson. As you can see right there, I have, can they stay healthy, ? Because that will be the major question mark for your Vegas Golden Knights. Can Adin Hill play majority of the season? Can Logan Thompson play 30-plus games this year for the Vegas Golden Knights? Can it be a 60-40 type of dilemma here at the Vegas Golden Knights? And I'm going to show you my 3 scratches because I'm going with young players as a healthy scratch. The first one is a guy I debated against when it came to Michael Amadio and Pavel Dorofeev. Pavel Dorofeev is good enough now to no longer be in Henderson. He has earned that promotion to not be in Henderson anymore. So Pavel Dorofeev, the number 4 ranked prospect by the Vegas Golden Knights, he will make the opening day roster as a healthy scratch. Jacob Demick, who is a 20-year-old they signed to an entry-level deal very recently, I predict that he will be a healthy scratch. And the 22-year-old defenseman, Kaedan Korczak, the guy I was debating between Brayden Pachal and Kaedan Korczak, I have him being a healthy scratch and not being put in Henderson to begin the year. And I want to quickly mention, you have 3 guys on the injured reserve, Zach Whitecloud, Alec Martinez, and Robin Leonard. So we are going to quickly recap here with about 2 minutes left what the lines are going to look like for the opening day roster on the Vegas Golden Knights. Forward line 1, Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Jonathan Marchessault. Forward line 2, Brett Howden, Chandler Stevenson, and Mark Stone. Forward line 3, Paul Cotter, William Karlsson, and Michael Amadio. Forward line 4, William Carrier, Nick Waugh, and Keegan Kolesar. Your first defensive pairing will be Alex Pietrangelo and Nick Hague. Defensive pairing 2 will be Brayden McNabb and Shea Theodore. And your third defensive pairing will be Ben Hutton and Brayden Pachal. Your goalie tandems will be Adin Hill and Logan Thompson. And your healthy scratches will be Pavel Dorofeev, Jacob Demick, and Kaedan Korczak. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree or if you disagree with this list. If you want to let everyone know what's going on around the world, share this video with all your friends and family. We appreciate the support. And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, I highly recommend you do so as we post content every single day here on Vegas Hockey Hub. So until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. And go continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. And because it's banner night tomorrow and they're the reigning Stanley Cup champions, go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio presents